So today is the 13th of October. It was 37 degrees this morning when I got up, and it's supposed to get a high of 44, I think 44, 45 degrees, and it's supposed to stop raining. It's raining just a little bit right now, but what I've got going on is it's butchering day for the chickens, so it's perfect weather for it. And one of the most important things, in my opinion, in doing chickens is to have your setup complete and ready to rock before you start anything. You don't have to have all of this stuff in order to do chickens, but if you're gonna do a dozen or so in one day, it would really help out. So what I've been doing is I've had meat hens. I think this is the third batch I've owned, and I slowly set everything up as I go along to make it easier the next time. And I've pretty much got everything set how I want it. One little addition I'll show you, but basically this is what I've got. I've done a video on this butcher table before, so you can look that up and see how I did it if you want to. I'll put a link in the video, but your first step is killing. So what you're going to need is a killing cone. It makes it easier. If you put them on a block and slit their throat, they flap all over the place, and if you don't hold on to their body or their head, they'll get blood all over their wings, and then they'll start slinging blood everywhere, and it's a huge mess, and you just don't need that. A killing cone is the way to go. Get yourself a bucket to catch the blood, put a little water in the bucket, and that'll make it easier to clean later on. Make sure you got your knife handy. I'll either use that one or probably that smaller one over there, but I got that one there right now. So that's the first step. Then you're going to go to the scalding. For scalding, you need a pot big enough to scald a chicken. This is definitely a big enough pot. A Bayou Classic. I owned it when I lived in Louisiana, and would do crawfish with it. So I've already started. You can see my temperature is about 120 and nice and warm. And so that's the, once you kill them, you're going to want to scald them. So getting your water going, if you're in a hurry or a time restriction for the day, get your water set up and get it going so it's up to temperature, and then you can set the rest of your station up. One important thing is a spoon. Have it close by. You can stir this water, get the temperature equal. It also helps when you put the chicken in. You don't have to put your hand into the water. You can just use that spoon, knock that chicken around in there. Next step, you're going to be defeathering it. I built myself my own chicken plucker out of stuff that I had. Purchased the fingers, and that's about the only thing that I've purchased. This is a 1/4 inch thick diamond plate aluminum. I cut a circle out. That's just what I had. The diamond plate does give you a couple more horsepower, though, I'm sure of it. Got a mounting plate and bolted it onto a system down here underneath this 30-gallon drum. You can see it's bolted to the 2x6, and it comes down through to a bearing. This big wheel goes over to a smaller wheel on the motor. The motor, I took off a small compressor. I don't remember the horsepower. It's way too big. I think it's 1 horsepower. So I had to play around with the pulley sizes to get the right speed. If you don't have the right speed, you'll have a chicken exploder instead of a chicken plucker. That's what happened to me when I tested it out the first time. It was way too many RPMs. So changing my pulleys, I was able to get it down to a decent speed. And every now and then I'll have one that'll break a wing or a leg. It won't break the bone in half. It would just pull it out of socket. And basically, if you're going to part your chicken out, it really doesn't matter too much. But that's maybe 1 bird out of 6, something like that happens. So that bird I just piece up. I normally don't keep all of them whole anyways, so it's not that big of an issue. And for the amount of money I saved building my own, scrounging my own, it's considerable. So I got a switch here it's operated with. It's plugged in a GFI inside my barn, and it's all in a housing back here. The next modification I want to do to this is add water to it so that I can just turn the water on at the same time I turn the switch on and put a spray down onto the chicken itself. In the meantime, what I do is just remove my hose from this setup here on the butcher table, which is run from this pedal and drains into this bucket. If I need to use it over here, I just put that brick on the pedal and I'm good to go. So I'll scald the chicken, drop it in here, turn it on, run the hose on it while it's going. It takes about 35-45 seconds and you have a naked chicken. Bring your chicken over here to the butcher table. Got a butcher board right here, the hose right here. It makes it real easy to do the rest of it. The parts that you're not going to use, the guts, they all go down the drain into the bucket. So you have this bucket full of parts, that bucket with blood, and you can just take those 2 buckets out and dispose of them. Once the chicken's totally clean, then you're going to need to store it until you're going to process it. Got a cooler full of ice water. I'll add some more ice to that before I get going, but that's right there ready to go. So there you have it. That's the setup, and like I said, you don't have to have that same setup, but this is all stuff that I've accumulated over the years or built myself to make the process easier, and it really does help. It speeds everything up. I do it all alone, so it'll be a process of getting the first chicken out of the barn, putting it in a cone and bleeding it. Then when I put that into the scalding bucket, I'll go and get the next chicken and bring it out and bleed it. I'll take the one out of the scalder, do the plucking while I put the other one into the scalder, and then I can go and get another one if I want to and get 3 going at a rip. That's normally what I do, is 2 or 3. I don't think I've ever done 4 at a rip. I just don't want them sitting out here. Today the weather is perfect for it, so it's cool enough I might end up doing it that way. And then just having 4 there naked, ready to go, that gives me a chance to reheat my water a little bit if I have to, and just keep the process going. So that's what I think is the most important thing about doing chickens, is to have a nice station set up, have it clean, and help yourself out, make it easy. So that's all I've got. If you want to see how to process chickens, there's a ton of videos on it, so I'm not going to do one of those, but I do think it's important to have the setup. That's the basic thing that makes it so much easier for I just saw a deer running through over there. It's black powder season too, but I'm putting meat in the freezer right now, so I don't need to mess with that. But anyways, back on track. Have a good setup. That'll make it a lot easier for you. Take your time, really think it out, do the research, set yourself up, and you'll be happy. So hope this video helped with some ideas on how to do things. If you've got any ideas on how to change things up, I'm open to them. I appreciate you watching. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. I was at 999 yesterday, so that's pretty cool. And I know it's a little small time, but I'll keep doing videos and we'll see what happens. So thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.